Vihari Jaya Gopi Chana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chare Yamuna Tiravana Chare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada ki jai, Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. So we're going to read from chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, text 3. Okay, so Sma Gama Partha Naitattvai Upapadyate Shudram Hridaya Darvalyam Jakvotishta Parantapa. Naitattvaya Upadyate Shudram Hridaya Darvalyam Jakvotishta Parantapa. Okay, so the translation is, O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Purport. Arjuna was addressed as the son of Pritha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of a Kshatriya declines to fight, he is a Kshatriya in name only. And if the son of a Brahmin acts impiously, he is a Brahmin in name only. Such Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of a Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Arjuna did not fit his personality. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives. But Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called non-violence should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna. So that verse again, O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give us such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. So here we see Arjuna was addressed as the son of Pritha. And because he was a relative of Krishna, Krishna had this very affectionate way of dealing with him. So we all know how we deal with our relatives. We call them closely, we talk to them privately. We don't expose them to the entire public. So we do it in such a way that they would feel comfortable, but they would take instruction that was difficult for them to take. So at this point, Krishna is instructing Arjuna, who has become overwhelmed by material illusion. I say that again, he has been overcome by material illusion or Maya. So Arjuna expressed compassion for Bhishma and Drona and all the other warriors on the battlefield. And we would think, well, okay, that's good. He was so kind. because of his Brahminical culture, because of Kshatriya culture, he was nice and willing to assist everyone, to make sure that everyone felt happy. But here Krishna is saying that these are impurities. And he's saying that this is material illusion. So we all know about hearth and home. We all want to, have that. And then we all know about country, and we know about our loyalty. We all think these are very good qualities. But here Krishna is stabbing him in the heart and telling him, this is not good. So how do we see that? So Krishna first chastises Arjuna's condition. And then prior to this verse, he says, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not befitting a man who knows the value of life. So, what is the value of life that Krishna is speaking about? So, is it that, we can go ahead and kill our friends and enemies in a battle? Not really. The battle was sanctioned by Krishna, the personality of Godhead. And the goal of life is to please the personality of Godhead and to serve Him. That's basically what the goal is. So here, Krishna is telling Arjuna that all this compassion that you have, this is false compassion. Or even though you consider it to be real compassion, it's misdirected. So he considers it to be an impurity and not befitting a man who knows the value of life. So basically, Arjuna's compassion was based on bodily relationships. It wasn't based on a spiritual relationship. As such, that will cause one to act improperly. So if we act on the basis of bodily relationships, we will forget the personality of Godhead. We forget the purpose of life. So real compassion is based on knowledge of the soul. So it might seem very harsh what Krishna is saying here, and even how I am explaining it, that we shouldn't have any kind of, sympathy for our relatives and friends. But that is not absolutely true. We should see them as spirit soul. If we see them as spirit soul, we will do what is best for them to get the finest benefit in life, which is God realization. We want to give them God realization. We don't want to give them a nice house, a nice car, make sure that they have nice children. What's going to happen? They're going to stay in the material world. They won't get out of the material world. We can become so successful in material life, but what's the purpose of it? Krishna said in Srimad Bhagavatam, life's desires should not be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life and self-preservation, since the goal of the human form of life is self-realization. So, we can have all these things, but we have to have them in a measured amount. We can't go overboard. And this is what Arjuna was thinking here at this point in time. If I kill all these relatives and friends, and I win the kingdom, who am I going to enjoy it with? But Krishna had tried prior to this to stop this war. But I wouldn't say he was unsuccessful. It's that Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, they didn't want to stop the war. They wanted to continue. So he decided that, okay, he will do it. Now, as far as the soul is concerned, it's Dehinosmin yatha dehe, kaumaram yavanam jara, tatha dehantara praptir, dhiras tatra namuyate. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood the youth, the old age. Similarly, the soul passes into another body of death. So we can't kill the soul. The body can be killed, but we can't kill the soul. And if the body is not killed, naturally, by the force of time, old age creeps in, disease, and the soul is ready to give up this body. So, you see, the soul is na jayate mriyate va kadachan, nayam buddha bhavita navana bhuya, ajo nityam sasvato yam purano, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He is not slain when the body is slain. What does that mean? He is not death at any time. We are all conscious of who we are, what our lifestyle is, who our friends and relatives are. We are all conscious of that. We are conscious that the body is changing, it's going from boyhood to youth to old age. But at any time do we say, that's not me, that's an old person? No, we are conscious of ourselves. And that consciousness is the example of the soul. The soul, the property of the soul is that he is conscious. And so that consciousness is the existence of the spirit soul. The body and everything that comes with it and all our attachments, these are extraneous. The actual person who is experiencing everything is the spirit soul. So, since the soul is eternal, killing the body doesn't affect the soul. And here Krishna is saying that Arjuna's grief is due to ignorance. And if you tell someone that, they might say, you guys are completely crazy. What do you mean if you kill people that's due to ignorance? You don't want to kill them. The difference is we understand who the real person is. The real person is your spirit soul, and he is traveling through these bodies. None of us is going to stay here. None of us is going to remain here forever. If we do remain here forever, we keep on changing bodies as we go along. And sometimes we don't even remember what happened in our previous life. So, as we are sitting here now and thinking that this is the present, how many lifetimes have we had? There are 8,400,000 species. How many different types of species were we born into? You've seen the birds, they walk on the ground. They can fly very nicely, but they walk in a funny way. They walk and their heads go back and forth all the time while they walk. You know, it looks funny if you think about it. But that's the whole thing, right? So many different species of life are there. They're the worms. You know, if you have rotten fruit, you see the worms in there. You throw it in the trash. They're living entities. There's consciousness there. So, Krishna's purpose in speaking to Arjuna is to elevate him from the material platform and bring him to the spiritual platform so that he can actually understand what his real duty is. So the duty of a Kshatriya must be performed. Because if a Kshatriya neglects some duty and he sees someone being taken advantage of, he's going to jump in. And he's going to act like a Kshatriya. He can't give up his ability. He can't give it up. So he has to act in that way. Now he's acting in that way as far as Krishna is concerned to kill all these people because it was the desire of Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is the purpose of the human form of life, to know what the desire of the Supreme Lord is, and to know how to become engaged in doing service so that the Lord comes pleased. So he also said that considering your duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement than fighting on religious principles. So the Kshatriyas, when they die in battle, they go to the heavenly kingdom. If they win and they don't die, they get the kingdom on earth. So either way, they're winning. They get a better situation. So there is no better engagement than fighting on religious principles. So basically, one must follow one's prescribed duty. In this age of Kali, everyone is born Shudra or less than Shudra. We can't say that we are Brahmin, we can't say that we are Kshatriya. We might have some qualities and we can utilize those. So based on those qualities, we can say, well, I'm like a Kshatriya or I'm like a Brahmin. Does anyone want to say like I'm like a Shudra? But how many people we see around us? How many Shudras are there? Prabhupada says that even up to the executives in a company who have many people under them, they're actually working for someone. They're actually Shudras. So this purpose of Krishna consciousness is to elevate us from materialism and bring us to a spiritual conception of what life is. So we want to keep thinking in that way. So, therefore, in this case for Arjuna, fighting on Krishna's order is bhakti or devotional service. So, refusing to fight like Arjuna did is disobedience. At one point in time, Arjuna put down his bow and he said, I shall not fight. He had the Supreme Lord as his charioteer, driving his chariot. And he became overwhelmed and he says, I shall not fight, and put his bow down. So, if we do that, if we put down what we're supposed to be doing to elevate ourselves, and he says, I'm not going to do that. Even the Mayavadis, when they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanting and dancing, they said he's a sentimentalist. So they even tried to preach to him, but he defeated them. So they're thinking, well, okay, he doesn't have that much intelligence. So people might say, well, what are you doing, chanting Hare Krishna? I met a lady in the Costco. She says, are you praying? She said, yes, I'm praying. But she knows, she has a little background. So the thing about it is that people see you doing that. They see you chanting, and they don't know what that is. Okay, is something wrong with your hand? Why do you have it wrapped up in a straw? So the purpose of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is to try to make everyone aware of this situation. In the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada was feeling despondent. Not Narada, Vyasdev was feeling despondent. And Narada came at the same time and he approached Narada. And Narada told him that he was feeling despondent because he didn't give devotional service properly in all the Vedas. He mentioned it, but it was not the main thing. In Srimad Bhagavatam, over and over and over again, devotional service is stressed. Not even, study of the Vedas. not all the Brahminical culture, not even following the Varnashram Dharma, not even that, but devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What could be easier than that? What could really be easier than that? It's so simple. We can chant anywhere, at any time, and we get the benefit of the chanting of the holy names. We can actually begin to make our lives upright, come to a successful platform, so that we won't have to go back into all the different species of life. But if we have to take birth again, we take birth in a better situation. Just remember, this is Kali Yuga, and it's not going to get any better. So, at the end of Kali Yuga, Kalki is going to come, and he's going to kill out all the undesirable people, and Satyuga is going to start again. All right? But before that happens, it'll get worse and worse and worse. If you think it's bad now, come back 1,000 years from now and you can see. So we want to actually make use of this human form of life. We make use of this human form of life to climb out of the maya of delusion, climb out of that pit we are in. You see people change, they start chanting Hare Krishna, they take initiation, they go to job, they go to work the next morning, they sit in the same seat, they do the same work that the other man is doing. It looks like the very same thing. But the reason that they're doing it is to maintain their Krishna consciousness, to maintain the life of bhakti. That's why they're doing it. So, it's not the activity that's the main thing. It's the desire and the reason behind the activity. So, if Krishna orders the fighting, that fighting becomes righteous and spiritual. So if he tells us, no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, that will make it righteous. That alone will bring us to the mode of goodness. It's amazing. You just give up these 4 bad habits, and we're automatically in the mode of goodness. You still have some remnants of passion and ignorance, right? But if we stay on that platform, we're in the mode of goodness. So this weakness should be given up. And it's called the petty weakness of heart. And it is not accepted in spiritual life. So we want to actually give ourselves the best gift that we could get. That is to direct our minds, our lives, our intelligence towards Bhakti Yoga, the process of devotional service. Give ourselves the best thing we can. Don't shortchange ourselves. If we shortchange ourselves, what will happen? We will lose out. Our life will become unsuccessful. There was one person who Prabhupada mentioned, he's asking the doctor to give him 4 more months. He has so many things to do. But what's the purpose of all these things? Prabhupada visited one Indian family once, and this gentleman was showing the pictures on the wall of his grandfather, his great-grandfather, all his important relatives. And he walked out of the room for a second. Prabhupada turned to his disciples and said, that is a sex life. That's basically all it is. It's nothing more than that. So we become infatuated with that. We think, well, that is the thing that we should be doing. And we get involved. More and more we act in that way, we get more and more involved. So we have to get the right knowledge, not the misplaced knowledge. You know, then later on he was telling Arjuna, he said, Asochananda Sochastvam, Pragyabhadam Sapasase, Gathasu Nagathasu Sha, Nanu Sochanti Pandita. While speaking learned words, you're mourning for what is not worthy of grief. So we have to be able to determine what is worthy of grief and what is not. How are we going to get that information? Right here in the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita was written as part of the Mahabharata. And because it was part of the Mahabharata, you see, it's for low-class persons like us. So we can actually take advantage of the Bhagavad Gita. So real knowledge again is understanding the soul versus the body. And Arjuna's sorrow and his compassion is only illusion or Maya. Arjuna's hesitation is considered to be material weakness. Krishna's instruction is the absolute truth. So, one should give up weakness and act according to Krishna's order. That is the real dharma and the real spiritual life. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, Nayad vachas chitra padam hare yasho jagat pavitram prabhunita karchit tad vaya samchirta mukshanti manasa nayatra hamsa niramanti shikshaya. Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. So, most people are in that. They don't describe the glories of the Lord. They describe their own glories. They think, well, I'm doing good, you know. And I always like to say that when all these successful people get together and they start talking, do you think they talk about the success they've had? Everybody knows the success they had in that community. They're talking about their problems. They're saying that I had this problem here, I had that problem there. How can I fix this? So even though they are so-called successful, they're having problems. What's the use of that success? And then he said this, in Bhagavatam it says, Tadbhag Vishargo Janasarga Viplavo, Yasmin Prati Slokam Abhaddavatyati, Namani Anantasya Yusankatanya, Shrinvanti, Gayanti, Kutanti Sadhava. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental word directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Listen to that. That's Srila Prabhupada's translation. It's fantastic. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So, we want to be in that position where we are thoroughly honest. We maintain our lives. We live, we act self-preservation. But the goal of our life is self-realization. The goal of our life is to perform Bhakti Yoga. The happiness we get in the material world is temporary. And really and truly, the happiness in the material world is not only temporary, it is really and truly a reduction of the misery that we're suffering. You have an old beat up car, you get a new car, hey, I'm doing good. You're happy. So that puts the difference there. You're still going to the same places, right? The thing is, you're not suffering as much as you did before. So you consider yourself to be happy. And happiness in the material world is a reduction of misery. It's not really happiness. But happiness derived from chanting the holy name, that's permanent happiness. That's transcendental happiness. And we all should strive for that. So I think we can stop, and if anyone has any questions, apart from
How can you explain to a army the Bhagavad Gita
you gotta speak a little louder.
how can you explain to a army that in that verse you don't say to offer me because they say that they like
You can offer meat to Kali. You can offer meat to the goddess Kali.
oh
And when you meet and you offer the meat, you say in the mantra it says Mamsa iti Mamsa. You're eating me now, I will eat you later. What's the use? Which means that if he has to eat you later, you have to come into that body. Consider Kentucky Fried Chicken. How many chicken birds do these people have to take? How many? But it's amazing, by the chanting of the holy names, one can escape that misery also. One can get out of that. So, nothing as good as the chanting of the holy names. Nothing as reading scripture, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada gave these to us. And you can see how explicit his language is in the translations and in the purports. How intelligent it is. And you know what? If Prabhupada gave a lecture, he would listen to it. When he wrote his books, he would ask devotees to read it to him. He's listening to it. He is taken into consideration that it is the mercy and the intelligence of Krishna that was put into that book. So we are getting our intelligence from the Supreme Lord. Krishna said, I'm the intelligence of man. No matter how expert we can become, just remember where it comes from. We look around and we see this entire universe. Is there a beginning? Where did we get consciousness? How did we become conscious? Where is consciousness coming from? Nice question. Given in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the essence of it, Chaitanya Charitamrita. You know what they did most in Chaitanya Charitamrita apart from saving everyone? They chanted the holy name and they ate lots of prasad. If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will see how much they talk about prasad. What else do you want? So, I urge everyone to become happy, to understand the purpose of the human form of life, and to make a step in the right direction. Any other questions? It is punishment if you think that this is the correct way, right? Material life is the correct way. It is punishment.
You stop to I do not like this as a person, like you stop with respect the elders and
Yeah.
obvious what happens to elders and also the superiors in the military, the all superiors. And as a Vaishnava, you become humble. And finally, when you get to the humbleness, respecting everybody, Krishna goes, just
Yeah, but you have to remember it's what Krishna wants. It's not what we want. So basically everything we can have here is given by Krishna entities. We can't have anything that is not given by him because there is no one else to give. And if we actually look at the conception of this universe, and they have this Big Bang theory, right? And what created a Big Bang? How did that come about? Then they talk about, Neanderthal man and coming up, Do we see anything like that? According to the Vedas, millennium after millennium, everyone goes back into the body of the Lord, comes back out again. There's no, situation where you come from lower class. If that was so, it would happen now. You would see some examples of it, right? You see mangoes growing, now it's the mango season, you see the mangoes coming up, right? You see the coconuts, you see everything happening. But do you see coconut changing into a gigantic coconut? It's not happening. The only time it happened is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya planted a mango seed. And he planted a mango seed, and it grew up immediately. And it gave such huge mangoes that one mango would be sufficient for one person. And the mangoes had no skin, it was only flesh. So it happens sometimes, right? But you have to be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to do it. Yeah, that's not happening. You don't see those changes going around. And some people try, they try to graft plants and, get something else. But these are not natural things. These are unnatural. Anyone else? So everyone agree with me, right? Now I'm not saying everybody agree with me. Give yourself some time to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, right? Chant at least for 20 minutes a day. It's the start. And you will see the change in your life. Simply by chanting the holy name and chant on these, you can. Right? Because you can chant in the kirtan, you can come and chant in the kirtan, you can sing to yourself. But if you take the effort and the instruction to chant on these, giving yourself an instruction to engage in Bhakti Yoga. So, give it a shot. 4 rounds a day to start with, and then fit another 20 minutes somewhere into your schedule, and another 20 minutes. And by the time you know it, you're chanting 16 rounds. It's easy, really and truly, but you have to have the desire. And the desire can come by the association of devotees and by studying the scripture. When the devotees are pleased, when we do some service to devotees, when they are pleased, Krishna becomes happy. It's like you have a child, and someone pets the child and talks to him, give him a candy. The father is smiling ear to head. This is what Krishna is our Father. We serve the devotees, and Krishna is extremely happy. Lord Srila says, serving the Supreme Lord is the best thing. But serving the devotees of the Supreme Lord is still better than that. So the association of devotees and service to the devotees is a wonderful way to get that. Narad Muni, and I'm going to stop. Narad Muni, he was serving the Bhaktivedantas during the Chaturmasya period. He was not an educated person, and that was before in his previous life. One day, they had some leftover prasadam, and he asked them politely if he could take the remnants of their food. So he went there and took it. Bhagavatam says, at that time, the very nature of the transcendentalist became appealing to him. So I'll say that again. The very nature of the transcendentalist became appealing to him. So this is how we get the appeal, by the mercy of the devotees of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so we can stop here. So Prabhupada ki jai. Panchaka Bhuttarvasya Kripasinam Vairasya.